Hey guys, it's Chris. From hidden pyramids in Egypt to lakes that make animals disappear, here are 8 bizarre landmarks from around the world. Number 8. The Hidden Pyramid of Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is one of Mexico's most visited landmarks. It's a central location in the history of the Mayan culture, and it's as beautiful as it is fascinating. But a recent discovery lends even more mystery to the fabled location. El Castillo, or the castle, is one of the location's central pyramids, and is most well photographed of Chichen Itza's structures. But hidden within the pyramid lies not just one secret, but 2. Built as a temple for the Mayan god Kukulkan, El Castillo's hidden inner tomb was first discovered in the 1930s, and it was believed to have been built somewhere about 850 to 900 AD. However, researchers using a technique called electrical resistivity tomography were able to see structural differences within the monument itself, and in doing so, they discovered a second substructure, and it's thought to date back to between 600 and 800 AD. Interestingly, the exterior of El Castillo combines elements of both the Mayan and Central Mexican cultures, but the interior pyramids are believed to be of more Mayan construction and decoration, since they were built earlier. With much of Chichen Itza and the Mayan world still a mystery, this discovery would go a long way to uncovering more information about the settlement in the area, and how it affected the Mexican culture as a whole. Number 7. Stone Orbs of Costa Rica. In the 1930s, archaeologists discovered a series of perfectly round stone orbs in the Diquís Delta region of Costa Rica. In total, hundreds of these stone orbs were found, ranging in size from a few centimeters to a few meters and weighing up to 16 tons. Scientists believe the stones were created before the Spanish conquest, with the first believed to have been made around 600 AD. By carbon dating pottery and other materials, researchers in the 1940s were able to determine that the stone was similar to materials used by pre-Columbian cultures of the southern region. However, because many of the balls have been moved from the original spot in which they were discovered, any archaeological information has been lost, making it difficult to know exactly why these orbs were created. The mystery was furthered by a variety of fantastical myths that surfaced from the time that the orbs were first discovered. Tales varied from the belief that the stones were actually from the fictional island of Atlantis to the idea that giants used the spheres for recreation. I'd like to see that. Some local treasure hunters, believing the orbs contain hidden pockets of gold, have even been known to blow up the spheres in hopes of discovering riches inside. Whether one believes in the myths or the more plausible creation of the orbs, the fact that the Diquís people went extinct makes their fable that much more mysterious, and for the myths surrounding them to grow. If you'd like to see these orbs but can't get to Costa Rica, there are a number on display in the United States, including orbs at the Museum of the National Geographic Society in Washington, D.C., and another in a courtyard of all places at Harvard University in Cambridge, Mass. Number 6. The ruins of HATTUSA. Located in Turkey, HATTUSA is an ancient city in the Hittite Empire. Discovered in 1834, the city was the main hub of the Hittite Empire, a group of people that grew into one of the greatest Middle Eastern superpowers in the late Bronze Age. Similar to ancient Egyptians, the Hittite language was expressed in both cuneiform, the use of lines and dots to represent words, and hieroglyphs, small pictures used to represent words and sounds. With numerous figures in the Hittite structure of gods and goddesses, it makes sense that many of their ancient structures would be dedicated to their deities. One such discovery, 150 kilometers east of Ankara, are the ruins of the ancient capital city of HATTUSA, which is thought to have once reached a population of 40 to 50,000. Discovered in 1834, both the upper and lower cities have undergone archaeological expeditions. The lower city is considered the older part, where the main temple was discovered, while the upper city, the newer part, was found to have a palace with mud brick walls and defense towers. Throughout the ancient locale, hieroglyphs in the ancient Luwian script were also uncovered, as well as a set of sphinx gates that survived until the ancient city was invaded and subsequently burned in the 12th century. Even after such destruction, the site set in the rich agricultural fields and hills of Turkey offers a unique tour for travelers and displaying the legacy of an ancient culture steeped in ornate tradition. Number 5. Rapa Nui or Easter Island. Thousands of miles off the coast of Chile, Easter Island sits in the Pacific Ocean. Known as Rapa Nui to its original inhabitants, the island's isolated location isn't its most interesting feature. The iconic Stonehenge statues scattered across the triangular landmass are one of the world's most talked about landmarks, and ones that are at risk of disappearing altogether. First discovered by explorers in 1722, there's been much speculation as to what the 887 statues on the island represent and why they were built in the first place. The statues were carved centuries ago as representations of a deceased elder member of the Polynesian people who inhabit the island. Each one has a head and a torso, with the largest, called PARO, weighing in at a whopping 82 tons. PARO stands over 32 feet tall and is said to have taken 5 to 6 men an entire year to carve. Although they've stood for more than a millennium, these iconic figures are at risk. Conservation experts warn that they could be reduced to weathered rectangular blocks within the next 100 years. White spots have been appearing on almost 70% of the statues. It's believed to be caused by a type of lichen or moss, and the once durable stone figures have started to soften and deform. Add to that environmental factors such as rising sea levels and high winds. Archaeologists believe the statues may be saved by undertaking an extensive cleaning process. They also believe that by coating the statues with a sealant, they could prevent further erosion and damage, and the stone heads may be saved. Although it would be a massive undertaking, it's a small price to pay to save one of the wonders of the ancient world and to preserve the legacy of the Maori people. Number 4. Göbekli Tepe Temple of Turkey. Although Turkey may not be the first destination one might choose for a vacation, recent discoveries may compel you to book a trip to the Eurasian country. In 1994, an ancient temple was found and it looked strikingly familiar to another infamous world wonder. Constructed of massive stone pillars that weighed more than 10 tons, the pillars are set in a circle much like Stonehenge. But what makes Göbekli Tepe different is the fact that the structure is actually believed to be more than 11,500 years old, around the time the last ice age ended, compared to Stonehenge's approximate 3000 BC creation date. Even more fascinating are the decorative flourishes on the stones of the temple. Lions, scorpions, and vultures are just some of the beautiful works of art featured. However, the sculptures are more than just decorative. They're the foundation to the massive stone blocks of the structure, which are said to weigh more than 10 tons. To make the site even more mysterious, it looks like it was abandoned around 9,000 years ago. But its people, prior to leaving the site, actually filled the vacant spaces with sand, which not only preserved the temple site from the elements, but makes one wonder if maybe there was some other reason for burying the site, which showcases a craftsmanship and artistry thousands of years ahead of its time. Number 3. The Incan fortress of SACSAY. In the former Incan capital of Cusco lies one of the largest structures built by master stonemasons of an ancient people, the fortress of SACSAY. The massive structure still survives thousands of years after its initial construction, which is an amazing display of the abilities of the Incan architects. Considered to be the largest structure built by the Incans, SACSAY rests on the top of a rocky platform. Although it was originally made with only mud and clay, the fortress was later reinforced with 100-ton polygonal blocks built in vertical sections. It took 20,000 laborers to complete the project, with workers tending to quarry excavation and to the foundation in shifts. Perhaps even more impressive than the size of the stones and the number of laborers needed is the manner in which the fortress was built. Workers used nothing more than stones and bronze tools to shape the blocks. Ropes, logs, levers, and ramps were used to transport the blocks from the quarries to the building site. Final cutting and setting occurred on site with sand and stones used to smooth the surface. It consists of 3 terraces with its walls laid in a distinctive zigzag pattern to catch attackers off guard. Additional preventative measures include only one small door on each terrace, which allowed limited access to the interior buildings and towers on the hillside behind. with additional terraces, patios, and outbuildings at the exterior, as well as an integrated aqueduct system for the fortress's water supply. The fortress of SACSAY was more than a military stronghold. Its interior ceremonial temples, storage depot for weaponry, food, tools, and ceramics made the fortress one of major importance for the entire Incan culture. Number 2. Medusa Lake of Africa. Flying to far-off places to discover unspoiled lands is one of the best things about traveling. However, even the most beautiful places sometimes have hidden dangers, and a lake in Africa is just one of those places. Tanzania is one of the world's natural wonders, unspoiled by development. However, a salt lake in the country named Lake Nitron hides a harmful secret below its surface. With extremely high levels of nitron, which is a naturally occurring mixture of sodium carbonate and baking soda, the lake has such a very high pH level that it can be compared to ammonia. With levels this high, coming into contact with the waters can cause devastating chemical burns to the skin. Temperatures of the water can also reach 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Depending on elevation, the boiling point of water can vary from just below 70 degrees to over 101 degrees, making Lake Nitron a hostile environment for man and animal alike. Surprisingly, wildlife such as flamingos, one species of fish, and algae all kind of thrive there. It is believed that these animals are descended from others that lived in the area before the chemistry of the lake changed to the way it is now. But that doesn't make this place safe, even for other animals. Due to the nature of the water's composition, birds in the thousands have previously washed up on shore. Believed to have flown into the lake's mirror-like surface, the birds died and their bodies were preserved in a state of petrification. Their bodies were fossilized by the unique environmental elements with their feathers still intact. The strange occurrence effectively turned them to stone, similar to the legend of Medusa. Number 1. The glowing caves of New Zealand. New Zealand is one of nature's wonders, but its beauty can be found far below the unspoiled beaches and pristine coastlines. Located in the Northland area of the province, the Waipu Caves offer visitors an enthralling look at an elaborate system of twisting caves and rock formations, such as stalactites, pointed-tipped rock formations that hang from the ceiling, and stalagmites, rounded rocky formations on the ground. However, there is more than meets the eye at this remote location. If you look down, you can discover the bones of birds, mammals, and reptiles, as well as invertebrate fossils. But the true magic of the cave system can be found by looking up. A species of glowworm called the Arachnocampo luminosa lives within the cave system in a high-ceilinged chamber. Found exclusively in New Zealand, these worms produce threads of saliva, and they hang from the caves in an effort to catch prey. The dazzling light show occurs during the worm's year-long life cycle from larvae to fly, giving the caves an otherworldly glow that is important for many reasons. The landscape is vital to the planet and animal species who thrive on the underground system of its dark, cool, moist conditions, but it's also of cultural significance to the Maori people of New Zealand and is revered in their sacred customs and ceremonies, making the Waipu Caves even more magical. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe to World List for more videos like these. We post 5 times a week.